see a portion of a real psychodrama, a scene from life performed as part of a group therapy session. Psychologist Dr. Ira Greenberg conducts the session and directs two of the members of the group in the roles they play. The lady is playing herself, a troubled wife who finds it difficult to express her feelings. Dr. Greenberg has chosen another member of the group to play her husband, a man who finds it difficult to understand his wife. Now the stage is set, and the two participants reach the climax of their reenactment of a husband and wife confrontation.
I'm getting frustrated. You're hanging it on me. We're not together the way we used to be. It seems like there are so many things in your life that's coming between us, including our child and Lucy and your mother. And I don't know how much longer. I can deal with it.
Tell him what you want.
Damn it!
Tell him.
Oh. I tell you that I have all these things that demand my time.
Other priorities?
Dr. Greenberg asked somebody from the audience to bring a pillow to help with the reenactment.
See, that I need somebody to be able to rely on, that I don't want people pulling at me all the time. I need someone to be strong for me, to listen to my needs, instead of you just continuing to heap yours on top of me.
Listen over here. I love you, Dick, but I get so angry with you at times. Tell him.
I love you, Dick, but I get so angry with you at times. So damn angry! Damn angry!
Tell him why.
Dad!
Tell him why. Tell him why you're doing it.
I don't know.
Tell him why you're hitting him. Tell him.
Just don't listen! Listen to me once in a while. I need you.
Tell him.
I need you, Dick. God, I need you. Why don't you ever listen to us?
Look at this house I've given you. I've given you everything. You've got a swimming pool. You've got a jacuzzi. You've got a nice house. I've even given you a child. What more do you want from me? What more can I give you?
A deep, meaningful, trusting, loving relationship.
The troubled wife finally breaks down and expresses her feelings. Later, the group will discuss the problems revealed. But why group participation? Well, some psychologists believe that our mental health is deeply affected by our social environment. Family and friends, the people we know at school or work, and the larger society of our community and nation. In short, our social environment is people in a group. And psychological problems often begin when individuals have trouble relating to the people around them. But the social therapist observed that if environments help cause such problems, environments can also help correct them. So they create special new environments. Some of these are little more than group rap sessions in which people talk about their feelings. But other social therapies reject intellectual expression for the language of the body or the images of fantasy. Still others focus on helping people learn new ways of acting or behaving. All of these therapies have one thing in common. They don't use intrapsychic or physiological techniques. Their creators believe that being human outside an environment is like swimming without water. So they treat these problems not with analysis or medicine, but by changing the social environment or the way we react to it. One type of treatment is called Gestalt therapy. Gestalt is a German word meaning pattern or whole. In general, Gestalt therapists try to help people perceive and respond to the world in complete patterns rather than fragments. We get into trouble when we can't express our feelings completely. Then our perceptual patterns, the gestalts, remain incomplete. Our lives become a tangle of what Gestalt calls unfinished business. So Gestalt therapists force clients to speak only of their spontaneous impressions, to help them finish their business without repressing it. This technique frequently takes them away from words and into action, as when this client complained of nervous tension.
It's as if I'm being stretched this way, across my shoulder.
Can you do this to me?
Oh.
Stretch me.
It's as if I'm being pulled up this way.
More. Do it as much as you need to do. Okay, sir.
Something like that. Now it's gone away.
Acting out problems is important to many social therapies. No one changes behavior by merely talking about it. Behavior is changed by striving to achieve new ways of acting. That notion is shared by groups which are otherwise very different. The popular name for these groups is Encounter. Encounter groups began in the 1950s. You might say they've become the smorgasbord of psychotherapy. There's an encounter available to suit just about everyone's style, verbal or nonverbal. There are even nude encounter groups, but we don't have pictures of those. And not every encounter group is led by a psychologist. In fact, you don't even have to have a problem to join some of them. Just a desire for more spontaneous relationship with people. Oh yes, you may be wondering just what this group is doing. This is play therapy for grown-ups who want to re-encounter the children they once were. It looks silly, but remember that it's really a very serious effort to rediscover long repressed and much-needed emotions. This group takes a rather different approach. It uses nonverbal exercises to evoke an intense self-encounter through fantasy.
While it was going on, something kind of strange happened inside, and I don't know whether it's my tendency to analyze or seek reason, or whether it was something that just really was strongly flashing back. But I kept hearing people, voices from my childhood saying, "She's a spoiled brat. She gets everything she always wants." And I kept hearing myself yelling back, "Don't give me things, just give me love without buts."
Working with fantasies rather than analysis helps avoid intellectualizing problems and making excuses for them. The group provides a supportive environment for taking the emotional risks of self-exploration and a realistic setting for testing the results. Indeed, group members often go through so much together that they become a deeply intimate society of their own. And many say this intimacy is the key to group therapy's success. Some groups may use fantasy to treat learning problems. This physician guides children through positive images to improve their reading ability.
Now, keeping your eyes closed, remember that one of the reasons that a lot of us have trouble in learning is because we have a lot of bad experiences or a lot of painful experiences. So this next exercise is a way of kind of getting rid of those kind of pains. Now, I want you to put your hands on your head now. That's it. And pretend like you're going to take your brains out of your head. Now, take your brains out of your head and put them on the floor, all the way on the floor. All right. Now, there's a hose there on the right-hand side. Put it in your hand and begin washing that brain out. And wash away all of the black stuff and all the crud that's there that's gotten in the way of your learning. Your brain's going to be much lighter now. Do a good job now, because you want to get rid of all those painful experiences. All right, now put your brains now back in your head. Sit up in your chairs and put your brains right back in your head, all the way back. That's fine. And put your hands at your side. Now I want you to imagine that there's a motion picture screen in front of you, and that you see yourself on that motion picture screen reading. Now imagine there's a door on that screen, and take your right hand and open the door. All right, and climb inside that body on the screen. All right, that's beautiful. Now you're that person on that screen reading. That is you there. Now I'd like you to use your imagination and put that picture of yourself in your blood cells. So now your blood cells are going all around your body with that picture of you reading and reading without effort and reading very successfully.
Group techniques have also helped drug addicts, alcoholics, troubled marriages, and even whole families which have trouble getting along. It's clear that the catch-all category of encounter groups includes some innovative approaches to some serious problems. But a few of these approaches have given all group therapies a dubious reputation among the majority of people. Well, the irony is that one of the most successful group therapies has taken root in a very conservative sector, the business world.
Hi, George.
Say, do you have that memo we're all supposed to sign and give to DB?
Yes, I do. I haven't signed it myself yet. I'll give that to you now.
You sure you've got it?
Oh, yes, it's here somewhere.
Here we go again.
This is the name of a game played frequently between people.
Say, did you happen to go to the cafeteria this morning?
Yes, I did. I dropped in for a cup of coffee earlier.
Well, as luck would have it, so did I. Does this look at all familiar to you? The mustard stain is where my name usually goes. That's another example of your total inefficiency.
Playing such games isn't very much fun, at least not for the victims. But play them we do, every day of our lives, according to a form of therapy called transactional analysis, or TA. TA theorizes that each of us has three coexisting ego states: parent, adult, and child. A transaction is a dialogue between ego states. Complementary transactions are the predictable responses of one ego state to a communication from another.
You'd better get that report in on time.
Okay, I understand. It won't be late this time.
But if two ego states clash, the transaction is garbled and problems arise.
You'd better get that report in on time.
Who do you think you are speaking to me like that? You don't know what you're talking about.
To avoid problems, we indulge in ulterior transactions. We say one thing when we mean another. And of course, this only makes things worse.
I'll do the report this time. You're so stupid. You can't do anything.
Great, you always get them done so fast. I am stupid. Kick me. Kick me.
Ulterior transactions are games. We initiate games to get strokes, the approval we've craved since infancy. TA therapy tries to prevent games by showing people how they play them. And like other group therapies, TA doesn't dig deeply into the individual mind. It uses the language of everyday life to teach all kinds of people simple, effective ways of getting along together. It describes the ultimate goal with one phrase I'm sure you'll recognize: I'm okay, you're okay.
Games that we play are pretty much preordained by our life positions. We call this the OK Corral. Basically, there are four positions. You're okay, and I'm okay, says the winner. The winner is invested in getting on with the project, with life, with winning, being okay. Whereas the sulk down here, I'm okay, you're not okay, is invested in getting rid of others. This is the person that no one gets very close to. They may be the zealot, the leader of a cause, but basically distance between themselves and other people. Up in the top left, you're okay, I'm not okay, says the jerk. He or she is invested in getting away from people, like the depressive personality. Whereas the loser is invested in making you not okay and sees himself as not okay and getting nowhere.
This no-nonsense approach makes TA a very popular therapy with American businesses. TA therapists are called in to show executives how to avoid the human games they play, games which could be undermining their work. These people would probably object to many forms of encounter groups. But they're doing what amounts to the same thing, acting out their problems together under trained guidance.
And one of the most common ones is the game of rapo. And in its classic sense, it always has a sexual base. It's a, well, let's just demonstrate an example.
Great.
For example, let's stand up. I think that'd be easier. Let's say rapo players are usually oriented to one part of their body. And let's say I'm a woman rapo player, and I'm breast-oriented. I would hold things like this. Hi, John.
Oh, hi. How are you?
I had this terrible problem with my budget.
Oh, well, I've been working on budgets this year. Maybe I can help you out.
Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to get it done during the day.
Well, I'm normally busy, but I'm open this evening if you'd like to get together.
What kind of a girl do you think I am?
A girl who needs help with her budget.
Okay, so then I smash him after, I said I'm available, and then I smash him once he says he's interested.
One thing you may have noticed about this and other group therapies is their resemblance to theater. It's no accident, because one of the earliest group therapies was inspired by the stage. In the 1920s, the Romanian psychiatrist J.L. Moreno founded the original psychodrama. Moreno was convinced that the active role-playing of the theater was far better therapy than psychoanalysis. He directed his patients as they acted out their real lives, spontaneously, without rehearsal, before an audience of fellow patients. They were seeking the full expression of feelings blocked in everyday life. But people in a psychodrama do more than express their feelings. They also listen to the member of the group who plays the other person involved in the problem situation. A dialogue results that can clarify both points of view. After reenactments of problems in several relationships, a basic problem often emerges. Here, the wife who had trouble with her husband is acting out her problems with her live-in maid, played by someone chosen from the audience. At one point, Dr. Greenberg will ask the two women to reverse their roles. Watch.
I know you're really busy, and I really appreciate it, but my world is here, at home. And how I clean the walls and how I clean up is really important to me.
Well, Lucy, could you kind of talk to me about that later? Because, I just got home. I've been busy fixing dinner, and my mind's focused in on fixing the dinner and taking care of the baby and trying to take care of my husband's needs, and I just really don't have time for that right now.
Reverse roles.
Role reversal is essential to successful psychodrama. You listen to yourself as played by someone else, and you must also express the feelings of the person who troubles you in the relationship. Often, the result is fresh insight.
Well, I'd like to be able to tell you about all the things I've done today, and the way I've cleaned around the house, and how I've taken care of the baby, and I really like you, and I kind of admire you, and I want to live up to your expectations, and I kind of need a friend, and I need a mother, and a sister, and I'm very alone here.
These two will reverse roles again, and the troubled wife will later enact other problem relationships. In the all-important discussions which follow psychodrama, the leader can help pinpoint basic problems the drama revealed. Psychodrama works for many people, but some psychologists question all group therapies that ignore intrapsychic and the biological components of human behavior. They point to studies which show that nearly 10% of group therapy participants get worse instead of better. and about 1/3 experience nothing at all. Even some of those who say they've improved change their minds several months after therapy. Group enthusiasts reply that psychoanalytic patients spend much more time and money for equally uncertain results. And they quote other studies which show that people who change their behavior do feel better, even if they don't understand why. Given enough time and practice and positive reinforcement, they say, people can change significantly using group techniques. Another form of social therapy is called behavior modification. It's a method championed by B.F. Skinner and many other behavioral psychologists. The essence of behavior modification is to set clear-cut, measurable goals for the person to achieve during treatment, then to reward each small step that the person makes toward achieving the new goals, and ignore all the mistakes. Behaviorists believe that reward is much more powerful than punishment. They prefer to praise good behavior and ignore or try to disrupt inappropriate actions. These boys paid for their pool game with plastic tokens they earned in school. It's a special school for children whose undesirable behavior keeps them out of regular classes. The school is run on a token economy. The students live on campus. From dawn to dusk, all their good behavior is rewarded with tokens. Besides pool, tokens can be exchanged for candy, a better room, or a visit home. Undesirable behavior is disrupted with time out in an empty room. The tokens are positive reinforcers. To get them, the students repeat their good behavior. The time out room is a negative reinforcer. To avoid time out and get back to earning rewards, the students stop their bad behavior. That's basic behavior modification. But it wouldn't work if the school were not a true therapeutic community, where the people are rewarded for achieving specific goals. Therapeutic communities have also helped retarded people learn basic skills, and they've contributed to the treatment of serious mental illnesses. In the past, mental institutions have been more like prisons than therapeutic communities. Their principal function was to remove troublesome people from society. As medicine and psychology progressed, mental hospitals developed methods thought to be better for treating their patients. Today, most use a combination of behavior modification, intrapsychic, drug, and other physiological therapies. Some have turned their patients in forced isolation into an environment for positive change. And these therapeutic communities have often helped even severely disturbed people. The goal of therapeutic communities is the members' return to normal life. So they supplement basic behaviorism with heavy doses of group therapy.
We're not talking about each person, by herself as one person. We're talking about the whole group or the whole world or whatever, that they can't blame the past for what's happening in the future. You can't go around saying, well, my mother did this to me, so that's why I'm getting put in the jug.
Therapeutic communities have been very successful at changing specific undesirable behaviors into desirable ones. But deciding what behaviors are good or bad is difficult. In some therapeutic communities, the patients help the therapist define what is good or bad. And successfully changing behavior still doesn't answer two basic questions of psychotherapy. Where is the root of a mental problem? In the environment or the brain? And what's the best treatment for it? Behavioral, intrapsychic, or physiological therapies? One psychologist, Adolf Meyer, decided nearly 100 years ago to simply stop asking those questions. And more people today are agreeing with him. This man is a patient at a modern holistic health clinic. Holism is an approach to mental and physical health greatly influenced by Meyer's work. Meyer believed that environment, mind, and body were all parts of an interconnected human whole. He taught that one part couldn't be the isolated cause of a problem. All three contributed to health and disease. And he demanded that psychotherapy approach problems with what he called critical common sense. Critical common sense doesn't offer theoretical explanations of why patients have their problems. Instead, it attempts a straightforward description of each personality, emphasizing healthy aspects as well as abnormal ones. Critical common sense has shown holistic practitioners that all psychotherapies can work if they achieve certain things. They must provide each patient with a warm and supportive environment. They must give patients enough information about their behavior, past and present, to help them understand themselves. They must give patients enough time to work through their years of painful experiences. And they must win the patient's trust for the therapist by encouraging the therapist to be supportive and sincere. If it meets these criteria, any therapeutic technique, intrapsychic, behavioral, or physiological, is potentially useful to the holistic approach. So when patients enter a holistic clinic, they're evaluated by a team of specialists, doctors, psychologists, social workers, and other experts who complete a composite mental and physical profile. The profile tells the team how much of a problem is in the environment, or in the mind, or in the body, or perhaps heredity. Then they design a suitable treatment, possibly including several different therapies. And they often sign a written contract with each patient, a mutual commitment to make therapy work. You may have to shop around until you find the best method of psychotherapy for you. And don't forget to use your own critical common sense. Think about cost and time and the qualifications of the therapist. And think about what therapy should do for you. And then give it a try and keep trying until you've reached your goal.